Welcome back to the Excel Mastery series here on Soluma Institute of Tech and Management, where we transform beginners into Excel pros, one video at a time. In our first lesson, we covered the absolute basics of Excel, from navigating the interface to working with cells, rows, and columns. Today, we're taking it a step further with the top 10 Excel formulas you'll use every day, real-world functions that make your work faster, smarter, and more professional. We'll cover powerful tools like IF, SUMIF, COUNTIF, CONCAT, VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, and even 2 bonus gems that can completely change how you work with data in 2025. So, if you're ready to master the formulas that drive reports, analysis, and productivity across every industry, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive straight into Excel.
Alright, starting with if function. Let's take for example, our manager wants to find out which of these sales reps met their target and which one did not meet their target. And let's take for example, the target is any sales rep that made the profit of $2,000 and above, they meet their target. How do we reconcile that? We come over to this place and we make use of the if function. We type if what's our logical test? We are going to say our logical test is if the profit here is greater than or equals to $2,000, then comma, what would we put here? We can put here target met. Then we close our quotation and comma, what if false? Then we can put here not met. And that is our logical test. We close our parentheses and we hit enter, and that is our if function. Here we can drag it down to see the ones that meet target and the ones that didn't meet their target. And if you want to learn more about the if function and diverse use cases of if function, feel free to check out our video on this channel to get more use case on the if function. Now let's move over to the and or function as regards to Microsoft Excel. Now over to and or function. And statement in Excel is a logical statement that returns true when both argument is true and return false when either of the argument is false, while the or functions return true when one of the statement is true. And let's look at what we mean. We say equals, we have the and function. We can say that this CC is equals to open parentheses and we put emo and close with comma, and then we can say that this profit is greater than or equals to 2,000, and then we hit enter. Automatically we see that is true. When you change one of these to, let's make it 3,000, you see it becomes false. Let's look at also the or function. We say equals the or function, and then this one equals to, we type emo and then put the close quotation and put comma, and then we move over to this. We say greater than or equals to 3,000, and we also hit enter and see returns true while either of the statement is true. Now let's see how we can combine both the if function and function to get a more reliable result, a more use case. Now let's take for example, our manager said we are giving bonus to those who met their target that are from the eastern region. We are first covering the eastern region. From our sales rep, we are going to give them a reward, a bonus. If you are from the eastern region and you made a profit to above 2,000 above, you are going to be given bonus. How are we going to calculate that? That's where we combine both the if and function. We can say equals, we put the if and open our parentheses, then type and function again, open the parentheses. We are going to say if this is equals east, if it equals east, comma, and if this is greater than or equals to 2,000, then we close our bracket. That's our logical argument. We put comma. Now what happens if this is true? We are going to say give bonus. That means the person deserves bonus. We are going to put this, close the parentheses, and then comma. If not, we are going to put here no bonus. And that is how we can combine the two functions to get a very reliable use case. And then we hit enter. You can see that this person deserves bonus. Why? Because he's from the eastern region and also made a profit above 2,000. And if we drag it down, you see those that deserve bonus and those that didn't deserve bonus. And that is a combination use case of the if and function. Over to SUMIF function in this video. And now we are going to look at the SUMIF. In the SUMIF case, let's take for example in a situation where our managers want to know the total profit generated from a particular state. Let's say a total profit generated from Imo State or from Abia State or from Enugu State. How are we going to calculate that? We are going to make use of the SUMIF. We can say equals sum automatically this comes up. We double click here. What is the range? What is the range we are looking at? The range we are looking at is the state. We come here, click, hold control, hold shift, press the down arrow to highlight the entire range, control backspace to return where we are. Then we put our comma. What is our criteria? Our criteria is IMO. We type the IMO here and then close the quotation and put comma. What's our sum range? We are going to come to profit. We want to sum all the profit generated from IMO. Hold control, hold shift, press the down arrow to highlight the entire range, control backspace to get where we are, and that is we hit enter, and that is the total profit generated from IMO state. You can use the same way for the average if that works the same way. You just only need to change the sum if to average. Every other thing remain the same. Now let's move over to the next function, which is the COUNTIF function. Alright, for the COUNTIF function in this top 10 Excel formulas you must know, let's look at how to use the COUNTIF. The COUNTIF in this case, let's take for example, our manager wants to know the total number of sales rep from the eastern region alone. What are we going to do? We use the COUNTIF. We say equals the count. If this is the function, we double click on it. What's the range? The range is the region. Hold control, hold shift, press the down arrow to highlight the entire range and control backspace to return where we are, and then we press comma. What is the criteria? The criteria is the east, and we close the quotation, close the parentheses, and that is the COUNTIF function. We hit enter. It shows us that there are 26 sales reps from the eastern region, and that is how we make use of the COUNTIF function. Next is the CONCAT function, and CONCAT function in Microsoft Excel is used to join two or more tests or cells together. And to do that, let's take for example, we want to use this concat to join the title, the first name and the last name together into a full name. How do we do that? We can say equals, we say concat, and this comes up. If you are using Excel of Office 2010, you can see this concatenate, but from 2013 upwards we have this concat. The next we do, we come here and select this test, put comma, select this, put comma, and select this. And that's what we do for concat, and we hit enter. You see it joins the test together. But the challenge we have here is that these are joined too close to each other. How do we separate them? Let's come over to this. Then after this place, after this first Dr. Engineer, we can open double parentheses, put space, and then to close it back, put comma, and come over to this as well and do the same thing. Open quotation, type the space bar, and then to close it back with the comma, and we hit enter. We can now see that they have the normal spacing which we can get in this particular aspect. That is how to go about concat in Microsoft Excel. Next is the trim function, and trim function is one of the function of text function in Microsoft Excel. And what do we use the trim function to do? Is to remove unwanted spaces. Like you can see under state here, there are spaces we have here, but under trim function we use that to remove it. And how do we do that? We say equals, we type the trim, that pops up here, we double click, come over to this, we select, and we hit enter. We see that that is removed. If we come over to this and drag it down, we will see that all these spaces, all unwanted spaces, have been cleared up in this aspect. And that is the trim function in Microsoft Excel, used for data cleaning to remove unwanted spaces. Next in this video is the proper function, where we use to convert stuff like this to proper. And to do that, let's see how it is. We can say equals proper, and then we have this function here. Double click on it, come over to this. This is an all cap letter. It will turn it into a proper case, where the first alphabet is in cap letter, the other ones are in small letter, and that is what the proper case does. If we drag it down, you see all capital letters have been turned to proper case. In the same manner, let's see the upper case. The upper function is used to convert any alphabet, any letter into a cap letter. When we do, we say equals the upper function. Then let's take for example, we want to convert this all to capital letter. We select it and we hit enter. Automatically you see that all is now in capital letter. We can click and we drag it down. We see that other of it are in capital letter. The same way we move over to the next function, which is the lower function, where we use to convert from upper to lower case. We can say equals lower function. Then let's take for example, we are converting this yang to a small letter, and we click on it, hit enter. Automatically you see that becomes a small, all small case, every of them here in small letter, and that is for the lower function. Next is the date function. The date function, this we use in order to return an automated today's date. And what is the function? We can type equals to today and open parenthesis and then close it. It will return the current date. We hit enter. Let's double click, and today being the date of this video is 16th of October. That is the function called today function to return the current date. Next is the time function. The time function, when we use it, it returns both the current date and the current time. Let's do that. We can say equals, we type the now function, open parenthesis and then close it back. That will give us both the current date and the current time. As of this video, today's date and 21:32, which is the current time as of this video. Move now for VLOOKUP function, which we call vertical lookup in Microsoft Excel. We use it to look for values or data in our data set. For example, we want to find the revenue of any product ID we entered here, and to achieve that we are going to make use of VLOOKUP. However, before we do that, I need to establish this because I need to explain this to us. For VLOOKUP to work in Microsoft Excel, the revenue which we are looking for has to be after the product ID. When you are arranging your data set for VLOOKUP, you have to ensure that what you are looking for, we have to be in front or after the product ID, which is our lookup value. If the revenue is before the product ID, then VLOOKUP will not work. You always ought to arrange your data in such a way that the value you are looking for is after the lookup value. Now, having explained this, let's now go over and use VLOOKUP to get our revenue from each of the product ID entered in this cell. Alright, to achieve that, let's say equals VLOOKUP. We have the VLOOKUP, and then we get to this is asking what is the lookup value. Our lookup value is the product ID. That's the value we are looking for. Then we press F4 to lock it and put comma. The next is asking for the table array. In the table array, we come over to this place, hold Control Hold Shift, press the forward arrow and then the down arrow to highlight the entire range. Control backspace to return where we are. Then we put comma. The next thing is asking us is the column index number, which is where what is the column you want me to return. Excel is asking. So we start from this 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. The column index number is 5. We enter 5 and then comma. The next Excel is asking, are you looking for an approximate match or an exact match? In this case, we are looking for exact match. We double click on this and then we close our parentheses and we hit enter, and this result comes out. We have this simply because there is no value here. And let's enter product ID and see what we have. Let's say we enter 2787 and we hit enter. Automatically it gives us the revenue generated by the product ID 2787, which we have here as 96,000. If you change it to, let's say, 2049 for example, and we hit enter, it gives us that value, which is this, and that is our VLOOKUP. Next, now to XLOOKUP, which is a more advanced and more powerful function than the VLOOKUP because it handles VLOOKUP deficiencies, VLOOKUP drawbacks in Microsoft Excel. And to understand what we are saying, let's use this scenario. Let's say, for example, we want to know the revenue from each of these products. In this case, we are no longer using the product ID, we are using product, and we want to find out the revenue. Remember, in VLOOKUP, the revenue need to be after the product for it to work, but in XLOOKUP, we don't need to bother about that. Alright, let's quickly do that and see how we do it. X, we can go ahead and say equals XLOOKUP. We can come here to click. Next is what's our lookup value. We go over to this. Our lookup value is this. If we click, we hit F4 to lock it. Then comma. The next is asking us is our lookup array. This value, where am I going to look at for it? That's the lookup array here. Hold Control Hold Shift, press the down arrow to highlight the entire range. Control backspace to return where you are, then press comma. The next is asking the return array. If I search for this product under this array, what do you want me to return? We want you to return the revenue generated from that product. We click there, hold Control Hold Shift, press the down arrow to highlight the entire range. Control backspace to return back where we are, and that is what we are going to do. The next is it has there the if not found, match mode, and all that. We can put comma. If not found, we can open this, put space and close it back, and then we close parentheses and we hit enter. Automatically you see there is nothing here. What do? We can come over to this place and then enter a product here, which we can say type X Maximus UC 45. Now when we hit enter, automatically it shows us the revenue generated by this product called Maximus UC 45. You can go ahead and change to other product. You will see that it's dynamic, and that is how we make use of XLOOKUP. Now to learn more about XLOOKUP and its use cases, feel free to check out our video on this channel on XLOOKUP, where we handle 8 different use cases of XLOOKUP. Now over to the bonus tips for this video. Now over to the bonus tips for this video. For bonus tip number 1, let's take for example our manager wants us to filter out, wants us to get all the states represented in this data. To achieve that, we are not going to be doing that one after the other. We are going to make use of this powerful function called unique function, which we can say equals, we type unique, and we have this. What are we looking for? We are looking for all states represented. Hold Control, hold Shift, press the down arrow to highlight the entire range, Control backspace to return where we are, and we hit enter. Automatically it filters out and brings out all the states that are represented in this data set. And that is the bonus tip number 1. Over to second bonus tip for this video. Let's say for example you are working on a data set and you want to generate serial numbers. You are not going to be typing them one after the other, 1, 2, 3, or you be dragging it down. That is another way to waste time. To generate like 1,000, 10,000, you are going to make use of the sequence function. Here we have equals sequence, and then you come over. Let's say we want to generate a serial number for 2,000 the data set. We come over to this place and we type 2,000 and hit enter. Automatically it generates that for us. If we move down, press Control down arrow, that will take us to that, and that's 2,000 serial number generated. And that's our 2 bonus tips for this video.
Great job completing this session of the Excel Mastery series. You've just learned 10 of the most important Excel formulas every professional uses daily. If this video helped you understand Excel better, imagine how powerful you'll become after the next one, where we'll dive into how to clean and organize data like a pro in Excel. That'll make your work look clean and professional. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next lesson. Drop a comment below. Tell me which of these formulas you loved the most or want me to explain deeper in a future video. This is Soluma Institute of Tech and Management, helping you master Excel and advance your career, one skill at a time. See you in the next class.